Okay, fuck. Time now is 7:11 a.m. on July 4th. I slept from 3:20 to July 10th. And I pretty much immediately fell asleep. I don't know why I'm so tired, but I am so tired. Like, I immediately fell asleep. The quote-unquote window for the fan for the AC sort of shut off, and I wanted to go out and turn it back on, but I'm too lazy to move. So yeah, I'm so tired. I'm so insanely tired right now. And that's bad because today's a long day. So I have no idea how am I gonna survive. Oh my god. I'm so tired. I'm so insanely tired. People are like, oh, make sure you get enough rest before the expo. I'm like, before the expo begins, I'm already like dying of tiredness. So I hope, I don't know. Oh my god. I hope there's like coffee or something. Because I really cannot stay awake. Yeah. I'll go to bed even earlier tonight, I guess. I didn't watch a single minute of Dead Ringers last night. I ran out of time again. I spent so much time editing this video. By the time I finished editing it, it was like 2-something a.m. I spent like 2 hours editing this video, maybe even more. Yeah, but I don't know if I can watch anything tonight. I'm just too tired. But yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
You're my op, Stoner.
Oh my god, okay. I guess this is it. This is the real line.
Standby tickets left.
So what's the difference between standby and priority?
So for priority, you're guaranteed to get a autograph. So they're like numbered, and then for standby, they're also numbered, but like it depends on how much time they have, how much they want to sign. They might be like, oh, we're gonna take like 10 standby, we're gonna take 20, or they might, take all of them. It's not guaranteed. Yeah.
Is there still a lot left of this arena?
Yes.
Oh, please.
I'm fucking hot.
Hello.
Okay,
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I feel like this is already a different program and not the opening ceremony anymore.
Luna Lady of Light, one of your cosplay senpais for this year. I'm also part of the
I'm leaving.
cosplay team Karma Luna Cosplay.
Bye bye. Good day. Good day. I'm gone.
Together we are Team USA for the World Cosplay Summit 2023.
Yeah,
right here to your right.
Phenomenal
Thank you.
experience. And we just wanted to thank you guys for sending us. And if you don't know anything about World Cosplay Summit, it's the Olympics of cosplay. We had 32 countries in total competing in Nagoya last year.
Right.
And it's a wonderful opportunity to make new friends, meet new people, and make lifetime memories.
It's Chainsaw Man doing it. Thank you. This must be the Where are my friends? Oh. Okay, I'm going solo again. I'm gonna go into the Petri Hall, take a peek of Studio Orange, and then leave. This is the studio that did Beastars, and that's all I know. Honestly, they're announcing a new anime, I think. It's probably not going to be that interesting, but still cool to check it out because I have hardcore FOMO, and I'd like to enter as many places as possible. Little curve.
So like, you'll make a left.
Yeah. Yui? Okay, yeah. I'll let Only boring nerds go to Orange Studio. Only boring nerds go to industry panel without any guests showing up or whatever. We're fucking nerds, okay? God damn. Monogatari series. That's my favorite
They're
anime.
bringing Gun Gale back? That was the one SAO show that was actually decent.
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Oh my God. Business Service Center. That's crazy, dog. Business Service Center.
Okay.
Have you seen the
If
anime?
you watch the anime ends at middle of volume 6.
Okay. Let's see what happens to the guy. Oh. Oh my God. Yo. Yo. Now we're talking. Am I like in the photo? Yeah, this is fine. Like, I've been on film sets where we have to eat in crazier conditions.
Try to sit down. Probably this.
Oh my goodness. Where are you? He's lost again. He got lost again. Where are you? Oh my goodness. Not another line. Oh, there's Mertz. Whoa.
I've seen a
What? I don't get it. Where? Okay, it's too late.
408, but it's full right now. They're not letting the gas cooler. Yeah. It was full, so we probably wouldn't even.
Holy shit, that's a lot of people. Oh my god. Wow, I don't have to wait for this one. Crazy. Okay, got myself a shirt thing. It's gonna be like $60, but at least that's something. Unless I find like a Hololive thing here, which I highly doubt. I think I'm just gonna settle with this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Oh, my legs.
You guys come over here, wrap around this pole over here.
Yes.
Head over to the booth or scan that QR code right there. You can add 30 days.
Bruh,
to
I'm
your
not
use.
paying.
30 days.
I'm not paying for your service. Alright, it's 11:45 p.m. It's dinner time. Alright, so time now is what time is it? I'm so tired. It's 12:34 after midnight. There's explosions in the skies because it's July 4th. Technically 5th, but you know, the whole month is July 4th. So let's talk about today a little bit extensively. This is going to be a long video because I'm going to recall my entire experience. Today is definitely... Also, I may like zone out or like fall asleep in the middle of this video because I'm just that tired right now. I'm honestly surprised I survived. Like, from July 1st onwards, so July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, today's 4th, 4 days in a row I didn't have enough sleep. Right? July 1st, I had less than 4 hours. 2nd, it was less than 6 hours, less than 5. Yesterday was less than 6 hours, today is less than 4 hours. But even so, I was able to walk and run. I didn't run, I speed walk so much today. And I had a lot of energy. I was really alert. I was carrying this backpack. And I did all this in 14 hours. I'm really impressed with myself, but I know that the moment I get home, the tiredness will just hit me. That's what's happening to me right now. I am paralyzed, basically. So yeah, I was really sleepy, but this morning I woke up as planned. I woke up at 7:10 a.m. I calmly brushed my teeth, you know, made my hair look a little nice. And yeah, I'm glad my acne here, it's like, this is like worse than an acne. This is like, I don't know what kind of this is, but like, it was gonna look really bad, but last night I managed to make it not look so bad. So today, whenever I meet people or take photos, it's like not as bad. Surprisingly, my hair today was fine. I thought it would be like a fucking mess, like a pineapple, but no, it's fine. So I look fine, honestly. And then I waited, and Jonathan was supposed to pick me up at 7:30. He didn't pick me up until 8 a.m. As expected, everyone has to be a little late. Evelyn was also very late because she was waiting for her dad to, you know, whatever. So Jonathan drove me to Anime Expo, and we went to one of the parking lots. The parking is extremely expensive. All the parking lots are $40, but we found one that's $30, so we went in. And then I wanted to go in early, and we were already a little late. I thought we should start lining up at 8. We started lining up at around 8:30. Surprisingly, the line went really fast. So we went to the west side of the expo. I believe it's the Max Gate. And so my first stop is the Gilbert Lindsay Plaza, because I desperately need
the autograph ticket for the ReZero autograph session. And I really need to go there, and I was really worried that the autograph tickets will be sold out, so I want to be there as early as possible. And the line closest to the Gilbert Lindsay Plaza is the main entrance called Kiseki Gate. So I and Jonathan, we walked through another parking lot to head to the Kiseki Gate. And we lined up, and that was really fast. Apparently last year, the Anime Expo was really chaotic and nobody knew which line to walk in, and everyone was like forming their own lines. Thankfully, this year it was less chaotic. We went through that really fast, but yeah, it was like, I think it was around 9:15. So yeah, I waited like half an hour or like 15 minutes for Jonathan to put on his costume. Look, today was fucking hot. It was the blistering sun and it was sweaty, and Jonathan decided to cosplay as like a police force, but like deodorant police. So like all black with a vest and multiple like pockets, and he brought like 3 bottles of deodorant and 1 like deodorant spray, like and slid it into a holster, and he had like arm pads and elbow pads and kneecap pads. And when he did that, I was thinking, oh my god, are you really gonna wear this for 14 hours? And he did. By the end of the day, he was so sweaty, he felt so hot, and he told me he probably had like rash at the elbow and at the kneecaps, because it's like, come on, you're wearing this for 14 hours and you're sweating. And you know, he's a little bit plus sized, so he sweats way easily than I do, and I was just in a simple white t-shirt and a black sweatpants, but like I was in a very comfortable wear, and I did sweat today, but like not that much, honestly. But anyways, I digress. We went into the Anime Expo area, and first and foremost, Gilbert Lindsay Plaza. Holy fucking shit. The line to the autograph ticketing is so insanely long. It was like a snake, and there are probably about like 400 people, like maybe 500 people lining up. So we started lining up from 9:15, and I felt a little defeated. I'm not mad at Jonathan, but like if Jonathan had picked me up earlier, because I was already ready earlier. If Jonathan had picked me up earlier, and if Jonathan, I don't know, wore the costume a little faster, we would have been a little bit more ahead of the line, just saying, you know. But it's fine, it's whatever. So we started waiting, and there's no roof in the waiting area, so it was just under the blistering heat. I'm just taking it in. And Jonathan's already like sweating dogs and cats. I hadn't sweated yet at that point. I didn't even drink water, and he already finished a whole bottle. But yeah, we waited. At some point, there was a guy in front of us, a white guy. Apparently, he's from Canada. He has facial hair and a cap. He seems like I don't know. He doesn't feel like a very well-adjusted man, but at the same time, he also like he's not like. He doesn't feel like a drug dealer or anything, but like he gives off the vibe of someone who breaks the law for fun, you know, just for funsies. Someone who takes drugs. So he was like, you know, oh, what are you in line for, you know? And I was like ReZero, and he's in line for one of the voice actors. So apparently he's been to the Anime Expo many times already, and he talks a lot. And I also talked with him quite a bit. It's surprising because I've gotten used to talking to strangers. So today I actually spoke to a lot of strangers. I initiated conversation with strangers a lot today, actually. It's actually crazy. But yeah, he kept on insinuating that we should just cut the line. That we should just pretend. When I and Jonathan entered the Anime Expo through the Kiseki Gate, we also cut the line. Like, we pretended that we know someone in the line, and Jonathan started it first. Jonathan was like, "Oh, hey, I didn't see you there," and then Jonathan just like slid in the line, and Jonathan's like, "Play along," and I'm like, "Okay, fine." So we cut the line. So when we're lining up for the autograph, the guy in front of us was like, "Oh yeah, let's cut the line." We never did. After waiting for like a whole hour, Jonathan left. Jonathan's like, "Okay, I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm gonna go, I'll meet you up later." And I'm like, "Fine." So I kept waiting. And then at some point, the white guy in front of me was like talking to someone at the side. And he did this multiple times, like at the next line, like the neighboring line, you know, because it curves back. And it's this Latino guy, and he's even more veteran. Like, he's been in Anime Expo since 2009 or something. And then suddenly I turn back and I see the white guy's already like with the Latino guy on the other side. And so I'm like, oh my god. So I went with them. And he later fist bumped me. He's like, "Yeah, I got you. You know, I got your back." It feels wrong, but I had to. Because I was genuinely worried that the ReZero autographs would be sold out. Because at some point, as we were lining up, some woman came out, was saying, "Oh, ReZero autograph is now on standby." So by that, she means, so there's a priority ticket and there's a standby ticket. Priority ticket means you're guaranteed to get an autograph. If you're on standby, it means like you're in the queue. You know, you're in the wait list. Which sounds bad, but like premium means you're guaranteed, and standby means you're not guaranteed, but it's likely you will be. It's likely, but there's still a chance that you don't get in. But yeah, we cut the line and we skipped the whole section, and finally at around 10:40. I was finally able to get an autograph ticket, and I was really happy. But I honestly thought it would take about maybe 20 minutes for this line. I didn't expect that it would take 1 hour and 20 minutes, so I basically missed most of the opening ceremony. I did see the last 4 minutes of it. I immediately speed walked into the Anime Expo, into the Crypto.com arena, went to the main events hall, and I went outside to the rooftop area, went back in, and it was the end of the opening ceremony. And it's just this theatrical performances. I think it's kabuki. I guess some kind of musical theatrical performance, anyways. And then it immediately goes to the next event, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess it ends. So I went out, and I saw Evelyn and Dan. And so originally the plan is I'm going to go to Orange Studio immediately after this one, the Orange Studio panel. But honestly, what's the freaking point? I already lost like a whole hour lining up. I'm going to scrap Orange Studio and directly go to Entertainment Hall, which is the big hall right beside Main Events Hall. There's so much stuff in there. Hololive, VShojo, stuff like that. Viz Media, Manga King, Bushiroad, like the list goes on, you know. So I wanted to go in there, but we thought we should wait for Jonathan first. So we waited 10 minutes. And Jonathan was like, he went in, and then I don't know where he is, and he went here. And then we waited like 10 minutes. Finally, he showed up. Like, we all thought he got lost. So instead of going to Entertainment Hall, they wanted to go to the Artist Alley first, which is super far away. We have to cross to the other side of the building and then go downstairs to the basement. And I was like, but there's the Entertainment Hall. I don't want to miss this one out. This is the big one. And then suddenly Jonathan's like, oh, I have a panel to catch, and that's the Aniplex A1 Pictures panel. And I was like, what's the location? And he said Petrie Hall, or Petrie Hall. And I'm like, oh, Studio Orange is at Petrie Hall right now. Do you want to go and take a peek? And because Jonathan's thinking about lining up there early. So sure. And I also wanted to take a peek, because I am curious. Even though I know I'm gonna like skip Orange Studio, panel, if I can just take one peek, I will, because I have hardcore FOMO. It's like back in 2018 when I visited, you know, Europe, Northern Europe with my family, Western Europe and Northern Europe. There's so many places where I really wanted to go, but I don't have time. So I just want to take a peek. I'm just going to go all the way there, go to the entrance, take some photos and leave. And I did that so many times with like museums and stuff. So that's what I did. I actually went into the Orange Studio panel and like there were barely anyone in there. Or like there are people, but it's not full. And it's actually really boring. It's just 4 guys talking. I know that's how panels are, but like when you're not a hardcore fan and when it's not someone you know, being a speaker, it's like there's not much you can get out of it. So I thought, okay. So I immediately left. And by the time I left, Jonathan, Eve, and Dan were already on their way to Artist Alley. So I caught up to them and we went there. So we crossed the walkway. We went all the way to the other side of the building. We went down the escalator. We went down again to the basement. And then we proceeded to spend like a whole hour or maybe even more at the Artist Alley. And again, I totally didn't expect that. I thought, oh, it's just a bunch of booths of like a bunch of like Dojin, like indie art stuff, like independent arts and crafts shit, like keychains and like postcards. And I thought 20 minutes is enough for me to like take a quick look. But no, this is actually a lot more interesting. And again, I still have the entertainment hall, I still have the exhibition hall, I still have all these places to go, I still have panels to go. So I hate that the first half of today was basically me being constantly stressed and anxious. Even though this is supposed to be like a very fun day, it was fun, but it was also very anxious because I keep being scared that I'm going to run out of time. And the thing is, like, because Evelyn, Dan, and Jonathan have been here before, so they don't care as much. But this is my first time, and I want to hit as many locations as I can. And I only have one day. And that's the huge issue. That's the biggest issue, is I only have one day. I'm not going on all 4 days. I only have one day today. So, yeah. Like, I want to go to as many locations as possible. I know it's really tough for me to go through them in one day. This is like the fucking British Museum of anime. But I want to try. And the thing is, Evelyn was really right when she told me that the more people going to Anime Expo together, the tougher it is. Because I and Jonathan and Evelyn and Dan, all of us had to constantly split up today. And also with more people, it's slower because we have to wait this person to go to the bathroom, wait that person because that person got lost. Or, if I had solo travel today, I would have been way faster. Like I travel really fast. Like when I went to Santa Barbara, everything was super smooth because I was that fast. I was that quick. But anyways, we were at the Artist Alley. Most of it was a glance, but then there's the 18 plus section. And then we spent so much time in that 18 plus section looking at fucking hentai. But the biggest thing is the Faku line, which is the big hentai company. I and Jonathan lined up for like maybe 30 to 40 minutes just to get in, and I thought, well, might as well, because we lined up for so long, might as well buy a book. So I actually bought a whole ass porn manga, like hentai. And I thought it's like, because in Akihabara I also bought hentai, and it's like a very thin, like 10-page thing, like a 10-pager, 600 yen. This one is like a whole ass book. And I paid $20 for it, and I'm probably not even gonna read it. Maybe I'll read it out of curiosity, but it's not going to mean much to me, It's just stationary black and white porn. Even if it looks good, it's stationary in black and white. It's not going to mean much to me. But yeah, and then Evelyn met up with a couple of her friends, which means that we spent another 5 minutes talking to them. And I get it, when you meet a friend, you want to talk to them and chat, but like I have place to be, and I hate to be the asshole. I hate to be the asshole who rushes people, but like I have places to be. And I was already kind of lenient. I was like, oh, it's okay, let's take your time. But in my head, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go. yeah, I really planned everything out, even though it didn't really matter too much anyways, because everything changed. But, oh yeah, so we spent 1 hour and 40 minutes at Artist Alley, Kentia Hall. And then at 1:10 p.m. we decided to have lunch. And that's another thing, is like I never really thought about sitting down and having lunch. I thought maybe I could just grab my sandwich and eat it while lining up for a panel. Just real quick, 1 sec, you know, so that I'm not wasting any time. But obviously, Jonathan, Eve, Dan, they need to sit down and eat. So they lined up another line just to grab some food. That line was actually pretty fast, but it was still at least like 50 people lining up at once. And then there's like a bunch of tables, but it's all completely full. Again, it's overwhelmingly crowded today. Hong Kong levels of crowded. It's normal for me, but like it's abnormal in LA, in American standards. So it was still like a bit of a shocker to me. Also not shocked because I expected a crowd, but like I also didn't, I expected it, but I wasn't prepared for it, you know. So we couldn't find a place to sit down for lunch, so we were just like, fuck it, we'll just sit on the ground. So in the hallway connecting from the main halls and the side halls, like the exhibition and the Artist Alley, which is the side, and the hallway, we just found a spot to sit down and we just eat like on the ground. To me, that's fine because this is like survival basically. But yeah. Thank God I brought my own sandwich. The food there is $15, which is not that expensive, honestly. But I got a $5 sandwich from Ralph's, which doesn't taste good at all. I got some mustard and ketchup from that place. And I was gonna buy a drink, but then turns out fountain drink is $8 fucking dollars. $8. And a canned drink is $6, which is still stupid. So I ended up just drinking water. And then at some point, Jonathan and Evelyn's 2 friends, they went to another spot and had lunch, but then Jonathan came back. So at 1:30 p.m. we finally finished lunch, and again, like everyone had lunch really slowly. I finished it pretty fast. And I was like, okay, now I still have 2 huge halls to visit: the exhibition hall and the entertainment hall. Okay, it's 1:30, and the Joey the Anime Man's panel starts at like 3:15, which means that by 2:15 I need to start lining up. Yeah. So actually, I think by the end of lunch, it was like 2 p.m. There's no fucking ball sacks way that in 15 minutes I can visit 2 humongous halls and then start lining up for a panel. So this is like the most stressful moment of the day for me. Is like, I feel like a first AD. So okay, I'm gonna give myself a little leeway. I'm gonna give myself half an hour to visit the exhibition hall. I'm cutting the entertainment hall. I'm gonna leave that for later. I have a little extra time after that panel, so I'm gonna go to the exhibition hall for half an hour. I'm gonna rush over to the panel, and then I'm gonna rush to the entertainment hall, speed run that, and then I'm gonna rush to ReZero. So a lot of rushing. And obviously, when you pack so much within so little time, you end up failing most things, and that's basically what happened. So I and Jonathan, like, we went to the bathroom to wash our hands, and then I left the bathroom first, and then I waited outside the bathroom for 5 minutes, and I'm like, where the fuck is he? And then I asked Evelyn and Dan, and they're already at exhibition hall. They thought I'm there because I really wanted to go there. So I went there to meet up with them, but then we just stood there just to wait for Jonathan. I don't know how, but Jonathan's like lost or something, or like, I don't know. Like, I know this is California and it's like a very slow paced place compared to Hong Kong, and I'm a very fast walker. Fast walker, fast talker, fast thinker, everything's fast. So I got really impatient. And then Jonathan's like, never mind. So I'm like, okay, we'll just go in. So me, Evelyn, and Dan, we went in. And it's basically me speed walking and like swivering through people. So there's quite a few things to see at Exhibition Hall. Aniplex, Toho, Toei, Ami, Crunchyroll. I ended up not seeing any of them because again I had like 20 minutes. By the time I entered Exhibition Hall, I had about 20 minutes to see what's in it. So there's this cosplayer called Non, and she's this tanned skin lewd cosplayer from Japan. And it's crazy because I've been following her for like a year now, or maybe a few months, and it's weird that I'm seeing her in real life. Like she recently announced that she'll be at the Anime Expo, and she'll be there at booth 4615. So I went there, and holy shit, it's her. And I wanted to take a photo with her because why not at this point? I came all the way here. Turns out it's not that simple. I can't just walk up and take a photo. Apparently there's like a line, and like there's a guy giving out tickets. He gave me a ticket and said, "Oh, you're here for Non? Okay, here's a ticket. Come back in 30 minutes. Even a photo with a cosplayer. So I give up. So I decided to secretly like take some videos and take a photo of her and just leave. And that's what I did. And the guy was like trying to block my phone. So we immediately left. So that was a little frustrating, but it's just a little thing. And then I also wanted to go to Aniplex, but that line is super long, so we didn't go in either. So there's this side shop that sells mystery bags. For $40-ish, you can buy a mystery bag, and there's a couple of figurines inside. But you don't know how good the figurines are and like of what character. So there's a JoJo bag, and Evelyn was like, "Oh, do you want to split a JoJo bag?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I paid $20 in cash. She paid $23. We opened the bag, and as it turns out, it's a Josuke figurine. I already have a freaking Josuke figurine for way cheaper, and I got it from Aki freaking Habara. So I'm like, fine, you can have it. So I basically gave Evelyn $20. And that bag also has a tiny, I forgot the character's name, a White Album Giacchino. I forgot the guy's name, I'm sorry, but I don't really need that either. So Evelyn have it now, so that's that. And then by then it was already like 2:35. I was like, I really seriously have to go. So I think this is the fastest I've walked in months. I just went out the exhibition hall, swivering between people left and right. It's like I'm playing Subway Surfer. And I'm like, okay, room 408. So I went back to the main halls. I went up the escalator, turn left, turn right, walked down. I saw the line, and I'm like, oh my god, the line is really long. I lined up. I asked someone, and they're like, okay, this line is for Studio Bones. And I'm like, okay. So I lined up. Great. I'm going. Finally something good. Finally something not underwhelming. Suddenly a woman was like, oh, this is a fake line. This is a fake line. And we're all very confused. There's a few people behind me. And they were asking the same question. So we went to the end of the line, to the entrance of room 408, just to be confused, just to have staff people telling us, hey, this is a fake line. And then so I went up and asked, where's the real line? And they're like, oh, you go out there, you go down the escalator, you turn right, you leave the glass doors, there are a bunch of tents, you line up there. What does that mean? What glass door? Where? So, and then I left,
And I went to the escalator, and then there's another staff, and I asked him the same question, and he said the same thing. Glass door, outside, white tent. So I went down the escalators, and then a few white guys behind me were like, oh, are you going to Studio Bones 408? And I'm like, yeah. And they asked me, do you know where's the line? And I'm like, I have no idea either. And then they're like, okay, we'll follow you. And obviously, I was just as confused. I followed them, and then they left, and I thought they're wrong, so I went on my own. And then I looked at the Anime Expo map, and I was like, oh yeah, they have special, like, line dedicated areas for certain rooms. Like, you don't just line up outside the room. Like, there are special areas dedicated to lining up. And then I read the map, and I saw that it's the same rooftop I was at when I tried to enter the main hall for the opening ceremony. So I immediately rushed over there. I went to the white tent. There's a huge crowd, and there's a staff saying, I'm sorry, the line is capped. Fuck! So yeah, you know, July 4th is already really underwhelming in terms of like guest appearances and voice actors and events. There are 2 saving graces, and one is the Anime Man and the other is ReZero. And the Anime Man, I couldn't even see him. So at that point, I really didn't know what to do. And the staff was like, oh, don't worry, like, you can line up now for the next panel. I think the guest speakers are going to be different, but you can line up now. And I'm like, no, that defeats the point. So, yeah, I was quite pissed. More disappointed than pissed. I remember Evelyn telling me that when she and Red went to Anime Expo last year, they missed all the panels because like they spent so much time at the halls. This is me right now. So far, Studio Orange, I kind of missed it, but for good. And the Warner Brothers one, I am not going because I don't have the time or the energy to go to such a faraway place. And then the Joey the Anime Man panel also messed up. Had I done my research, had I left the exhibition hall earlier, and had I done my research prior to where the line starts, I would have gotten in. But yeah, multiple people was also like there, but they couldn't line up because the line is capped. So yeah, that was pretty disappointing. And it's during that moment and a few moments later where I start to like question, why am I even here? Like, I wasn't I wasn't like super angry at the expo. I wasn't like, fuck this anime shit. Like, I wasn't thinking that. I was just beginning to ever so slightly question, yeah, actually, what's the hype? Why am I running all the way here, lining up with so much time just so that I can see someone famous from a very far distance, and then I'll probably never see them again? Like, what's the point, actually? And then I thought to myself, it's only worth it if I'm able to speak to that person in person and like work with them, which is impossible, or like near impossible. But like, I don't know what's good about panels anyways. What's good about anything anyways? So anyways, after that, I felt betrayed, and I was like, okay, well, the alternative solution now is, well, the good thing is now I have a little extra time to visit the entertainment hall, and maybe if I feel like it, return to the exhibition hall, which is on the way all the way to the other side. So Evelyn and Dan are at the entertainment hall, so I was like, okay. So I went into that hall, which is right beside. I found them, and I just walked around, and I realized that that place is kind of not that interesting. Again, it is around that moment when I was like, okay, it's a little underwhelming, and I started to question, like, why am I even doing this in the first place?
there's a big HoloLive place, but it was essentially just a giant TV playing a live performance of Fuwa and Mokoko, and then a bunch of people are waving glowing sticks and like singing with them, which is really fun. But for some reason at that moment I was like, I don't know, it's just a bunch of sweaty Discord mods, and like, what's the point? I can watch a live performance on YouTube too. Like, what if I should find some figurines or some t-shirts? So I continue walking around, and honestly there's not much to see in Entertainment Hall. It's just, you know, games and like there's merch, but like at that point I don't know anymore. And there's not a lot of merch. Most of the merch is in Exhibition Hall. So at some point I was like, okay, you know what? At around 3:45, I was like, okay, I have a crazy idea. What if I go to the Exhibition Hall right now for a quick half an hour, and then I come back? So the next panel, or like quote unquote panel, the next event I need to be at, and I cannot be late, because if I'm late for this, then my day is fucking ruined, is a ReZero autograph session. That starts at 5:45, and this is huge, so I need to start lining up at like 4:30. So by then it was 5:45. I need to be there at 4:30. So I have about maybe half an hour or a little bit more left at this entire arena. So, okay. Final thing, I'm gonna go all the way back to Exhibition Hall, and I'm gonna see what I can find. Like maybe figurines, maybe I can try to take a photo with the cosplayer again. So I went all the way back, and again, I'm a super fast walker. 6 minutes, 7 minutes later, boom, I'm there. I went to that booth 1615, and oh my god, there are way fewer people. And then I thought there would be a line in front of the cosplayer Non, but no, there's no line. So I saw the guy again, but like it's a different guy. But that guy recognized me, and he's like, "Oh, you were here earlier," and I was like, "Yeah, I had a panel to catch." So I didn't need a ticket. I can just walk in, basically. So there we go. I'm taking a photo with this cosplayer that up until yesterday, I never thought I'll ever see in person. But she's here in her tan skin, bunny suit, cleavage, makeup, heavy makeup, gyaru, aesthetic. And she's just there. And there's like a wall of like her like photos, like lewd photos. She's fucking oiled up in like erotic poses. It was like surreal. But I was really calm, and I was also really tired and disheveled. And I thought I could just take a photo with her, but turns out I need to pay to take a photo with her, of course. And then it says Insta photo $20, so I thought, oh, I'm gonna pay $20. And then I gave it some thought, and I thought, if I just walk out of line right now, it's like kind of disrespectful, because turns out it's like a money thing. So I'm like, sure, I'll pay. And then they explain, no, actually, you need to buy something to take a photo with her, so it could be anything. And I'm like, oh, so I got the cheapest thing possible, which is like a $5 sticker. It means nothing. But I got to take a photo with Non, which is a cosplayer. Yeah, she was actually she's a little shorter than me, as expected, but again, like, I always imagine people being as tall as me or taller than me. Her voice is very nasal, and she's really warm, so she actually grabbed me. She was to my left, and she actually grabbed me by my arm. She was really physical, actually. Like, she grabbed me by my arm, and like she did this with her hand, and I tried to like do the joke thing where I do a thumbs up and then she did this, but I guess nobody there got the joke, so they're like, oh, do one where you complete the heart, and I'm like, fine. So I smiled, and I was respectful. I was like, arigato, and yeah. I asked the staff to like use my own phone to take a photo of me, and the staff was like, "Smaho," and she was like, "Smaho," so like smartphone. Okay. But yeah, I said thank you, and then I left. So that was really interesting. And like looking back, that was actually kind of a surreal moment. I couldn't see the anime man, and I'm missing out on so many other voice actors, but somehow this lewd cosplayer, I got to take a photo with her, and it's kind of worth it. And then in the meantime, I wanted to buy a merch, like a figurine or whatever. So I lined up to animate. It was a small line actually. I entered it, and honestly, there's so many booths and so many small shops that's very similar to Hong Kong Anime Expo. It's just a small store, you know. So I took a look and I was like, well, I gotta buy something. And I was like, why not a t-shirt? So I ended up buying an Ava t-shirt for $59. No taxes, by the way, just $59. Yeah. That was nice. I'm a little bit scared that I wasted too much money, but you know what? It's whatever. So I immediately zoomed back, and I saw the Discord Discord text from Evelyn saying that, oh, I'm sorry, Enoch, I don't think we can meet because we have to go soon, or like we have to be somewhere. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I returned to the main halls and I directly left the arena. Left the entire building, crossed the road, and went to JW Marriott. And again, because I'm alone, so I walk really fast. So in like 10 minutes, I found my way. I just followed the crowd and I found my way. And I saw a line already, and I'm like, oh my god, the line is already there. And I was slightly early. So the event begins at 5:45, and I was already there at around like 4:15. I was like 1.5 hours early. And as it turns out, I was too early. So I lined up, and as I was about to enter the hotel, the gold ballroom, there was a black woman. She's like a security guard. She looked at my ticket and she was like, it's too early. Come back at 5:10. At that point, it was like 4:45. Come back at 5:10. And I'm like, okay. So guess what I did? I walked all the way back to the Crypto.com arena. I went to the Kiseki gate, the main entrance. I did the whole TSA thing. I walked all the way back within 10 minutes. My legs were already broken, but honestly, I'm not just gonna stand there and do nothing, okay? And I need AC because it's so hot. So I walked all the way back, and I met Evelyn and Dan for the third time maybe. And I also found Jonathan there. I still wanted to take a look more, but yeah. We sort of just took some photos, and then I had to leave again. And I was scared that I was going to be late again, but no, I walked really fast and I was right on time. Yeah. I even thought about like just buying a Hololive figurine, but then I thought, if I go to Japan next year, I might as well just buy it there. It's way cheaper there. I'm saving so much money by buying a figurine there. Even though it's unlikely that I'll buy a figurine, that I'll go to Japan next summer anyways. But I really do want to. Maybe in spring break. Yeah. So, anyways, I returned to JW Marriott, and I walked really fast. In 7 minutes, I was there. It's crazy how fast I walk. And I started lining up, and it was a really small line. And then I was directed to another line inside the ballroom, and then it was a small line there, and we all sat down on the ground, and we waited a whole hour there, and it was a very much needed rest. And then I started talking to the guy in front of me, who I believe is from Thailand. I can tell from the accent. Because he and the guy in front of him, they were talking about Hololive, even though this line's for ReZero, and I was like, oh, is there an event for Hololive later? And they're like, no, it's for tomorrow. So we started talking, and this is great, actually. Like, I guess one of the best things about Anime Expo is, like, the sense of community. There's a real sense of community, and, like, you can just talk to strangers, and you'll be into the same thing. And it's funny, because he is, like, not a very healthy looking guy, glasses, you know, and a little awkward, you know, just the archetypal anime fan. But like, we genuinely have the same interests. Like, we're both into ReZero, and we're both into Hololive, and like voice actors, and then we talked, and it was actually really nice. And then I complained, of course, like about how I missed some panels. And he's like, oh yeah, you're a first time here. Yeah, I made the same mistake last year when I went here for the first time. I missed a lot of panels, and I was really confused too. Lessons learned. And I'm like, yeah, lessons learned. But yeah, so I wasn't really that worried that I wouldn't be able to get the autograph, but there's still a chance, you know. But we actually did. So we started lining up at around like maybe 5:30, and then at around, or like 5:20, an hour later, 6:20, we were directed to the actual gold ballroom, where we lined up, where it's like a bunch of lines, a bunch of like what's the name, guardrails leading up to several booths, all lined up against the wall. And we went to at the very end of the wall, where we get to meet Kobayashi Yusuke, the voice actor for Subaru, the chief director of ReZero, and one of the other directors. And oh my god, it is actually happening. And it's there, I see them. It's a little awkward, because for me, I don't even know who Kobayashi Yusuke is until a couple of days ago. Even though I've been a big fan of ReZero for the last, like, maybe 3 years ish, 4 years. But like, I was never like a big fan of the voice actor and the director, because like, they're just, you know, known for the one thing. But yeah, so I brought my Blu-ray case, but they didn't sign it because they provide signed posters. And as it was, when it was my turn, I was pretty happy. I was like, so, okay, I'm going to describe it in detail. So, first of all, it's like no photos and videos, but I'm a very good at secretly taking photos and videos, so I took a bunch. And as the first person I approached was the Subaru's voice actor, Kobayashi Yusuke. And it's pretty surreal. He's just there, the voice of Subaru. He's just there. And I think two guys, like the guy in front of me, or maybe another person, asked him like who is his favorite girl, and then he unzipped his tracksuit and then showed an image of Emilia, which is kind of funny. And then I thought, oh, maybe I can ask something to, or like say something. But like at that point I was really tired, my mind was blank, and also I didn't even like think of a question or like something clever to say. So I was just like, oh, great voice acting in seasons 1 and 2. Oh, slightly before that, so behind me was like a Chinese couple, like a guy and a girl, and they're both Chinese. And when they got their poster, I heard them ask a staff, can we ask him to write our Chinese names? And when I overheard them, I was like, oh, then let me also do that. And then one of the staff, I guess not I guess, like I know for sure that she knows Japanese. And she's like, maybe, as long as it's like something that is also like writable in Japanese. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm sure there's a kanji. So I wrote down knock, as in like Laichi knock, knock. And then I actually asked Kobayashi Yusuke to actually write that kanji. So at first I was like, arigato. And then he tried to write my name. And he was struggling a little bit. He's like, what? And then somebody explained to him, oh, it's like a Chinese word, like a Chinese character. And he's like, okay. But I'm pretty sure in Japanese this kanji also exists, but it's like rare, you know. And then I was like jokingly saying, oh, muzukashi, which means difficult. And so I guess because he heard me say arigato and muzukashi, he thought I'm Japanese. So he started like asking me something in Japanese. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then the translator didn't translate for me, but the translator told him, oh, it's a Chinese word. So a little bit later I told him, oh, great work voice acting in seasons 1 and 2. And he's like, thank you. Arigato. So, and then we move on to the director, and again, my mind was blank. All I said was great work on seasons 1 and 2. I look forward to season 3. That's all I said. And then the last one is something Haruka. And I think she's like one of the directors or like one of the chief animators. And her translator, so there's a translator for each person. Her translator was like, do you want to say something? And I'm like, oh, great job on seasons 1 and 2, and I'm excited for season 3. I said the same thing. And I said, oh, I actually brought a Blu-ray case for you to sign, but they don't allow it, but this is fine too. Which is such a lame thing to say. Anyways. Oh yeah, the director, Masahiro or something. After I said that, he said something like "gambarimasu," but the translator didn't translate it. But I understand "gambarimasu." It's like, yeah, we'll do better. Like we'll do good, you know. And then yeah, I said the same thing, like a similar thing to the final person, and then I said arigato, and then I left. And then as I was leaving, I was like, oh my god, there are actually so many more clever things I could have said. Like I could have said, you know, can't wait for Rem to wake up, or like season 1 episode 15 is like one of the greatest episodes of anime I've seen. I could have said something funny like Takahashi Rie and Inori Minase, who is the better voice actress. Like, even though that's a little crazy to say, but you know, I could have said something like that. I feel like a non-fan. Like, I said, oh, season 1 and 2 is great, you know. Yeah, I bet they don't really care because like they have to speak to so many fans, but yeah, I could have said something better. I could have said something clever, but oh well. Yeah, one of the women lining up was like, ooh, these posters are nice. Are they customized? And I'm like, no, but they signed it. And she's also lining up. Anyways, that was a great success. Despite the fact that I wasn't so clever when I talked to them, at least I got to talk to the fucking voice actor of Subaru and the director of ReZero. I spoke to the director of ReZero. So that was easily like the best part of the day for me, and like this is something I'll never be able to get in Hong Kong Anime Expo. Yeah, and then I asked the guy, one of the security guards, how and where do I go to the Platinum Ballroom, which is level 2 of the same building. And she's like, oh, you gotta turn left, go up the escalator, come back. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, okay. So I went outside, and for like maybe 10 minutes, I was super confused. I walked back and forth, and I didn't know like which like I didn't know where to go. So I was lost for quite a bit. Until I came back. And then I asked the same black woman who I spoke to before how to get there, and she told me to find the main entrance. She told me to just follow some other people. So I followed some other people and I asked them, are you going to the Platinum Ballroom? And they're like, no. So, and then I continued walking, and then I went to Regal LA Live, the theater. And then some random guy in front of me asks a random staff, how do you get to the main entrance? And I'm like, oh, okay, it's at the main entrance. So I started following that guy, and then I spoke to that guy a little bit, and that guy is actually going to the Diamond Ballroom, which is in level 3, and he's going to the Cloverworks panel. And I told him, oh, I'm going to the Crunchyroll panel. So I followed the guy, we went into the main events hall, not the main events hall, the JW Marriott main entrance, which is like a different building actually, which is really confusing. The main entrance is at a whole different building, but it's a really nice looking building. We went in, I went up the escalator, and boom, I've arrived at Platinum Ballroom. And wow, what an underwhelming ending to the day. So I thought it's going to be like a cool ending, because like Crunchyroll panel, some special guests will show up, some like great anime premiere, but no. So I went in and they're playing this Chinese anime, and it looks like shit, and it feels like shit. It's terrible. And then after that, we have the first Crunchyroll event, and it's Crunchyroll and Kadokawa anime screening panel. So I thought they're going to screen something, and then some guest speakers will come out and say something, maybe a surprise guest speaker. So the first anime they screened is this new anime, they're all new, called Alia Hides Her Feelings in Russian. And it's an anime girl who speaks Russian, and I'm like, oh, just like Uesaka Sumire. So I looked it up. Turns out the voice actress is really Uesaka Sumire. Holy shit. So I thought, what if Uesaka Sumire shows up later? That would justify everything. That never happened. Right after they screened one episode of that, they screened another anime episode, like a pilot episode of this isekai anime called Not Allowed in This World, and it's about a depressed guy who is super weak and likes death in this isekai world full of dragons and elf girls. And it's the most boring, cliche, basic shit in anime ever. It's very unfunny, it's very lazy, and I was really fed up by it. And then after screening these 2 episodes, the event is done. So it's literally just screening of 2 shitty episodes. And then for like half an hour, it's just 2 hosts jumping around and killing time by doing like anime quizzes and like stuff like that. And then Jonathan finally came in, and then we sat together, and then we moved a couple times in terms of seats. And then we have the Crunchyroll premiere, the last event of the day for me, and also for Jonathan. And I thought they're premiering a couple episodes of a very new anime, of a very hot new anime, and they're inviting guest speakers, but no. It's just 4 random episodes of 4 random new animes back to back to back to back, and then that's it. And I can see like tons of people leaving, like in the middle of the screening, getting disappointed. And honestly, all 4 of the episodes, like none of them are great. Like some of them are really forgettable. One of them has some pretty good art style, but like one of them is like an isekai. It's called I forgot what it's called. But I fell asleep. I was like half asleep. I was like dozing off. I was like doing this because I was that tired. And then there's one called Nare Nare, and it's about cheerleading, and the art style was really good. But again, it was really fucking boring. And then the last one is like called MF Ghost, and it's about race cars, and it's also kind of boring. So halfway through the last episode, I and Jonathan just left. So we both left, and we just went to the parking lot and he drove me home. And yeah, that's it for today. It was very liminal at night. So first of all, I've never stayed at an anime expo this late and still be unfulfilled. Like, this place is so fucking big and so much is happening. Second of all, apparently, while lining up for the ReZero autograph, the guy in front of the guy in front of me told us that Henya, formerly known as Pikami, actually had a meet and greet today. And apparently VShojo, the VTuber company, had a meet and greet every single day in the 4-day run of this anime expo. And it happened at 4 p.m. today. Holy fuck. I somehow missed that. I didn't know that and I missed that. And I'm mad. At 4 p.m. I was at Exhibit Hall. So anyways, again, another unfulfilling missed opportunity. But anyways, it's whatever. Me and Jonathan were both extremely tired, and it was a pretty underwhelming end to the day. It was good overall. Like, it was very fun, and there's a great sense of community. But, I don't know, there's just so much missed opportunities to the point where I feel like I kind of fucked it up for the most part. So, yeah, I don't know. But it's still a very, like, surreal day. Yeah, it was very smoky and foggy and liminal. And there's non-stop fireworks by the end of the day. Like, very low fireworks. Jonathan drove me home. It was really cold. And he played anime music. I just wanted silence at this point. But my home is super clear. In 10 minutes, I was home. And then I'm back. And then I just ate some food. I drank Coca-Cola. And now I'm here. So, yeah. I don't know if I'm going next year, honestly. But if I do, I'm going all the way. Like, I'm going 4-day pass. I'm cosplaying. I'm doing all that stuff. But yeah, next summer, if I get to go to Cannes, I might as well go to, like, Italy and Greece and, like, whatever. Because I know my mom's planning to go to Greece. Which means I don't know if I have the time to even go to Anime Expo. But if I get a 4-day pass, I'll at least be able to see, like, voice actors and shit. But then again, it's like, what's the hype, though? If I'm paying so much money, spending so much time just to look at a celebrity from a very far place, you know? I don't know. An autograph session would be worth it, though, if you get to, like, speak to them. But I feel like it's not truly worth it until I become famous and that person, like, acknowledges me. Which is a very ambitious thing to say, but, like, the Anime Man is great, but, like, I hope, like, I don't know, it's only worth it if I make something and they acknowledge my existence, like, they remember me in the future. Which is crazy, but, you know. It's only worth it that way. But yeah. That's that. I'm tired as fuck. I want to watch Dead Ringers tonight, the movie, which I've been wanting to watch since June 30th. Since June 29th. But, like, I don't think I have the energy. I'd probably just fall asleep. So, and tomorrow I kind of have to wake up early again to do DIT Day with Tova. Bruh. Moment? So I may as well just sleep early and then just sleep early. Might as well. And yeah, July 6th I'm going back. I'm probably gonna cosplay as Yago. For the Hololive event. Maybe I'll try to see if I get to see Urasaka Sumire, but it's unlikely. But yeah, if Yago shows up on July 6th though, that would justify the whole thing. Because I really want to see him. And I really like Hololive. Yeah. That's it. I also like accidentally cut my arms like on a fence post while I was rushing over to the Joey panel in the hallway between the two sides of the building. So tired. Also want to note that apparently Jonathan and Alba are hanging out soon, which is real weird because they don't seem like they match at all, but apparently they have been talking to each other on Instagram. They've been talking about photography, and Alba was like, oh, you want to hang out and take some photos together? And Jonathan was like, sure. So yeah.